name is Pam Pohlman. As I reflect on my experiences while serving as social worker for EverHeart Hospice for 32 of its 40 years as an agency, I have attempted to find one word which sums up the value and meaning of this important work: relationships. The opportunity to build relationships with a variety of people over the years has been an almost indescribable blessing, and I will attempt to list these partners who have walked this journey with me. First and foremost have been the courageous patients and families as they face together the end-of-life journey with strength and resilience. Also included in this list of courageous persons are those in our communities, adults and children who have participated in our bereavement support programs. The hospice staff and volunteers, whether they are direct patient care employees, administrative, or support staff, entered into the lives of others during a very vulnerable and intimate time and have been instrumental in accomplishing the agency's mission. The goal was always to assist patients and their families in achieving quality time when their quantity of life is limited. I'm reminded of a quote from Dame Cicely Saunders, founder of the first hospice in London, England, when she stated, "You matter because you are you. You matter until the last moment of your life. We will do all we can, not only to help you die peacefully, but also to live until you die." Staff of other healthcare providers, such as hospitals, home healthcare agencies, nursing and assisted living facilities, physicians, and private caregivers have been instrumental in supporting the hospice philosophy of care. Community organizations and agencies, service clubs, and churches have all partnered with hospice to establish long-lasting relationships. In the early years of hospice especially, I often participated in providing information about hospice to others in community organizations, such as service groups and churches. In reviewing my notes I had prepared for these presentations, there was a central theme as I provided my perspective of what makes hospice a very special kind of care. I stated, "Hospice is not a place, a building, an agency, or something tangible you can see and touch. Instead, it is a concept, a philosophy, a feeling, a belief, and an attitude about end-of-life care." As a hospice social worker, my goal was often to engage patients and families in a process called life review. And this can take the form of conversations, writings, audio and video recordings, and family and friend gatherings. The focus of life review is to give patients the opportunity to reminisce with a purpose when they look back on their lives and find meaning and value as the future grows short. This helps them to focus on the positive impact they have had on family, friends, and community, and also to resolve any unfinished business they might be experiencing. As I review my collection of newspaper clippings, writings, photos, and memories relating to my hospice experiences, many of them highlight the importance of using this process of life review and focusing on end-of-life goals. These are some of the most meaningful and blessed interactions I have had with patients and their families, and I would like to share just a few of them. The first life review project involved an interview with an elderly female patient and her sister and brother, all living together, using a cassette tape player to record their memories. A life review videotape was completed with a sister interviewing a World War II veteran patient as he shared stories she had never heard and which resulted in emotional healing for the patient. Another World War II veteran wrote the chronicles of his memories during his military service to leave for his family history. We assisted a female patient to meet her goal of obtaining her deceased husband's World War II medals from the VA prior to her death to leave this legacy to their family. With hospice volunteer assistance, a patient had her poetry illustrated and published into a book as a family memory. Also with hospice volunteer assistance, an illustrated favorite recipe booklet was created for a patient to present as Christmas gifts to her family. We assisted a young mother of 2 sons, about age 4 and 6, to write love notes, including photos to be given to her children during special days of celebration throughout the first year following her passing. We arranged for a patient to go fishing for the final time with a hospice home health aide accompanying him. We made arrangements with a hospice in Germany to provide care to a female patient who was a German war bride, as her husband always referred to her, who wanted to visit family prior to her death. The most challenging part of this was making phone calls to Germany during the different time zones. Celebrating 100th birthdays with patients was always very special. One patient joined in the hymn sing provided by hospice staff, as he was reminded of singing in his church choir since he was a child. Another patient enjoyed playing her harmonica with the hospice harmonica band, which performed for her. This band also donated all proceeds of their other performances to hospice over many years of service. A patient had written a drama depicting the history of a local retirement community where she was living, and this was highlighted during her 100th birthday. Staff often went Christmas caroling to patients' homes, and it was evident in the participation and smiles that this encouraged their personal life reviews of Christmas memories. Another very meaningful Christmas activity sponsored by hospice was inviting families to walk down memory lane as they provided an ornament evoking memories of their deceased loved ones to hang on the special hospice family Christmas tree. A patient who was a Greenville High School football star in the 1930s fulfilled his wish of presenting his large scrapbook of newspaper clippings and memorabilia to the current athletic director to be included in the collection of athletic archives. A patient residing in a local nursing facility was honored through a joint effort by her family, the facility, and hospice to plan an open house highlighting her many creative talents through crafts, poetry, art, and handmade greeting cards. Another nursing facility patient met her goal of visiting an out-of-town developmental disabilities resident home where her son had recently passed away. She had established many close relationships with residents and staff over the years of visiting her son, and wanted to experience those warm friendships and to also visit her son's nearby gravesite before her life ended. This was accomplished through the joint efforts of the facility, hospice, and the local non-emergency squad services. I have been especially blessed by my involvement over the years with 2 types of community outreach and support programs. The first to describe is the weekly Caregiver Support Group, which was designed for both hospice patient family members and also for those in the community who could benefit from sharing caregiver experiences. The theme for this program was referred to as No Man is an Island, and it was very meaningful to observe the caregivers supporting one another in their shared commitment as they faced the challenge tasking of caring. The theme for the program was No Man is an Island, and it was very meaningful to observe the caregivers supporting one another in their shared commitment as they faced the challenging task of caring for their loved one. It was heartwarming to see lasting bonds of friendships forged during these meetings. The second type of community support offered was for bereavement for adults and children. These support groups were also open to hospice families as well as members of the community who had not experienced the loss of a hospice patient but could benefit from grief support. I observe that the most meaningful and helpful and effective way to experience each person's unique journey of grief is to share it with others who are walking on this same path. Children's Grief Camp, Camp Encourage, which was previously referred to as Camp Bearable, recently celebrated its 20th year anniversary, and participating in this event over the years has been a highlight of my experiences as a hospice social worker. As with grief support groups, this special weekend camp is available to all children in our communities who have experienced a loss, not just to families of hospice patients. One very meaningful memory experienced during camp was regarding two 7-year-old girls, one who had lost her dad and one who had lost her mom, both in tragic accidents. I was a group leader that year and remember that both were very quiet in the beginning and didn't feel comfortable sharing their stories. At one point during the weekend, they had an opportunity during an activity apart from the larger group to open up and support one another through their losses. That created a wonderful bond throughout the rest of their camp experience. And when they returned the following year, they remained friends and were able to support each other and other children in their grief journeys. In keeping with my earlier stated theme of the importance of relationships in this meaningful work, I must acknowledge all of the hospice staff and volunteers over the years who shared my passion for supporting patients, families, and others in our community during their end-of-life journeys. Very special bonds were created among us as we worked together towards the shared goal of providing comfort and care as others allowed us the privilege of entering into their lives at a very intimate and special time. I have often referred to a poem entitled "Come Walk With Me" by K. Hirth to describe this journey we walk with others. It is written from the perspective of a patient as he prepares for end of life and states in the last stanza, "Come walk with me, and when my journey ends, I will have gained peace untold, and you, I hope, a greater joy and capacity for living in the days and time you hold." In our interactions with others, we were often reminded of the importance of living fully and with purpose each day of our lives. Finally, hospice has had a very positive impact on the quality of life for many who are of greatest value to me, my own family and friends, because they have benefited from these special services. Until this kind of support is personally experienced, it is somewhat challenging to fully grasp the concept of end-of-life or bereavement care. We all want those we love to experience the best that life has to offer. And I can sincerely state that I feel EverHeart Hospice has provided that kind of compassionate care throughout these past 40 years.